go. It's time to season your wok. So when the wok is shipped, it's raw steel and it's covered with an oil to keep it from rusting. So the first thing we got to do is get oil off the pan completely. So to do that, I'm going to use one of these little scratchy scrubby deals. I'm just going to get it wet, and I'm going to put some dish soap in there, and I'm just going to start scrubbing. So I'm just getting it really sudsed up and scrubbing quite vigorously, because that oil really penetrates down into the metal, believe it or not. All the edges, all the surfaces have to all be scrubbed. Let's put a light on that. That's better. I even like to do the handles to get that oil off the residue. So this is called a Cantonese style wok, where it has two metal handles versus a long wooden one. And this is actually the more traditional of the type of woks. So I'm done with the scrubbing part with the soap. So we're going to get it rinsed off real good here now. We don't want to put it on the stove with any kind of soap residue. And we don't want to leave water, just plain water, sit on it for any length of time, because it will definitely rust, because it's just pure carbon steel. It's not treated in any way. So first thing we got to do is get all that soap residue out now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is dry this thing off, just briefly with a dish towel to get the biggest portion of the moisture off of it. One of the rules about a wok, and incidentally there's Teflon kind of woks, there's carbon steel woks, and there's cast iron woks. And by and large, almost all Chinese cooking mostly it's done with carbon steel woks. That is the preferred material for a wok. So I'm drying off as much as I can, and now I'm going to put the stove on, and I'm going to go as high as I can, and I'm going to put the wok on just bare like that. And what that is going to do is that's going to dry off. When that gets hot, it's going to dry off any excess moisture. And then as that dries and begins to heat up, now we're going to start actually tempering the metal itself. So for this, you want to have some hot pads handy, because we're going to need to move that thing around the flames. And this is why I wanted the wok shipped here instead of to you, because your stove could not, without flames you can't properly temper the metal. So we're going to heat this up. It's going to change colors as it gets hot, and we're going to even heat it up more with the blowtorch. So you can see, Maddie, just now on the bottom where the flame is, it's starting to turn a brown color. So it's starting to do its thing. Okay, so now it's starting to turn from that golden tan color to that brown color down there. That's what we're after. So I'm just going to move the wok around. I'm going to try and get that blue color everywhere. In fact, I'm going to start helping it along now with the torch. See it going. So now I'm going to start heating up the sides. I got the bottom nice and blue. but we want the entire wok surface to get that kind of color, because the cooking of the wok, with the wok, you're cooking up not just on the bottom but up on the sides as well. Okay, Maddie, so it's fiery blue hot, and I'm going to take some water and it's going to fry. And I'm going to cool it off. Cool it off in the water. All right, so now that I've got it cooled off with the water, again, it's very susceptible to rusting right now. So we're going back on the stove again. And now we're going to heat it up and get all that moisture dried off right away. Okay, Maddie, so the next step, now that I've got the wok heated and all the moisture's dried off it again, I'm going to put a little dash of oil in there. And I highly recommend peanut oil. You can use vegetable oil when you cook, but peanut oil is the best. Don't use olive oil. Don't use any kind of weird oils. Peanut oil actually gives you the best flavor for Chinese food. So now I'm going to take my wok tool, and I'm going to get this oil scraped up on the sides of the wok. And I'm going to take a paper towel, and this can get kind of hot, so you got to be a little careful with this. You won't have to do this again, but I'm going to just smear the oil up on the sides of the wok so the whole metal gets coated. We'll coat the outside later, but the inside now I want coated with this peanut oil. It's going to start smoking, so now I'm going to add my aromatics, which is my onions, a shot of ginger, and some garlic. No particular proportions, just enough to get it in there. And now I'm going to start walking that around the wok. These aromatics help take out some of the metallic taste, so that when you get this wok, you'll be ready to cook right away. So my aromatics are no good. This is just to season the metal. So now when you look down into the wok right now, you're going to see odd colors, blotches, black spots. That's all part of the patina of the wok and the wok cooking. That is not an issue. So now I'm going to clean out the wok from those aromatics. Again, with just some warm water. And again, at this point and from now on, water and particularly soap are kind of like an enemy. You don't really want them. It's better to go without it. Your wok, as you continue to use it, will over time even season more and more and more. All right, so now I'm just cleaning out the last of the residue from the aromatics. And we're going to go back onto the stove now. We're going to heat it one more time. And the heating for this time is just enough to dry it out. We're not trying to get it super, super hot. Now, I do want to explain one thing to you. In Chinese cooking, there's something called wok hei, which is getting that wok with the oil to the point where it's just starting to smoke. And when you cook like that, when the food goes into the wok at that stage, you get a certain taste that you can't get with a frying pan. So, again, we're waiting for the water to dry out, and then we're going to take that paper towel that I had with the peanut oil, and that looks pretty dry. So now I'm just going to take that and start coating the inside of the wok. Just a light coating. And this is what will allow us to put the wok back in a box and store it in your cabinet or wherever you want it stored, and it'll keep it from rusting. And then when you are ready to cook, you will just pull it out and put it straight on the stove, and you will be ready to go. One more thing I do want to mention in this coating of the oil is you also want to do the bottom of the wok. Now, if you think your wok is going to look pretty, forget it. It's never going to look good anymore. And every time I clean my wok after cooking, I coat inside and outside with a light coating of peanut oil. You just kind of have to do that. And another important thing to remember is when you cook, and when you clean up, try and clean up as quickly as you can, and don't use soap. You can use water, you can scrub a little bit with water. A lot of times now I don't even have to use water. I can just wipe out with a paper towel and it comes out because it's so seasoned. So this wok, I will now let it just sit and cool off naturally. And it is seasoned, and you are ready to go, my friend.